Hello, welcome back to day 2 of cooking beans. Here's our beans. They've been drained. All the water that was in there before. There's actually a lot of color in the water. Now it's not. But I'll show you a comparison to yesterday about how high and how tall the beans were compared to my hand. Before it was like to the first nook there in my finger. Actually, probably even a little lower. But now, when I stick my hand in, they come up to here now. So they have definitely tripled in size. Now we are going to add some water to the pot. Let me read the directions for you. Same paper as yesterday. So we go, drain the water and rinse the beans thoroughly. All right, check. Put the beans in a large pot already. Cover with water. Bring to a boil, boil for 10 minutes, simmer for a further 30 minutes. Watch for doneness at 25. You don't want them to be overly cooked, which is, I've definitely done that before. You don't want to do that. So BRB. Add all the water to cover the beans. Cover the beans with all the water. Cover it all. I'm going to cover it a little bit more than just covering it to give it a little bit of boiling room. That's about good anyways, alright? And we're going to put this on the stove. Hang on, back on the stove. Alright, she's back on the stove. We're going to turn her all the way to high. Let me just bring her down. High. Perfect. We're just going to let that sit there for a while because it's going to take a while because it is a really big pot. So we're going to bring that to a boil. I'll be right back when that starts happening. Alright. Welcome back for a second. We're not boiling yet, but I just wanted to show you how much foam. Woo! Hello. How much foam is already getting on there. You can see how hot that is by how quickly that steamed up. We can scoop that off and throw it out, just so you're aware. You don't have to deal with all that. So when this starts boiling, actually, I will show you the scooping out of all that nastiness. Alright, we're boiling. It's awesome. So I'm gonna let it boil like this for 10 minutes total. It's already been a couple, so maybe about 6 or 7 minutes for me. And then we'll turn down the temperature so it will just simmer. And that's gonna simmer for 25. So when I turn it down to simmer, I'll bring it back. I'm just bringing it back real quick because I want to show you my first scoop of the nasty sudsiness on top. Foaminess. So you're gonna grab that. You know, it gets kind of colorful too. And I'm just throwing that in a bowl. Turn it down to a shimmer. Maybe about there would be a good shimmering temperature. And just let it do its thing for another 25 minutes. Alright, we're at the end of our we're at the end of our simmering stage. I'm going to now drain these into my sink. And then I will show you guys how I run the ice bath for them. Alright, we got them all drained out. And the pot is in my sink, like so. And these are my ice blocks that I'm going to be using for my ice bath. I'm just going to put them in there with some cold water, and I'll show you what that looks like. Alright, here's the water in the sink with the ice. So cold water with the ice. And then I only really filled it up until the top of where the beans come in the pot. And then I'm going to stir the beans around a little bit. I'm going to stir them with a spatula because I don't want to break down the beans as much as possible. I'm really just trying to move them around so that they'll hit the sides of the pot where it's going to be cold soon. It's still pretty hot from the stove. But it'll cool down really quickly from the ice water on the outside. And stirring them around like that to get them nice and cool. And then once they're cold enough, I'm going to put them into freezer bags. And then I'll show you what that looks like too. Alright, the beans are nice and cool now. I don't feel any heat coming off them at all. And I can absolutely taste test. And they're perfect consistency. We still have a lot of ice in the sink, so did pretty good with cool down time. Now I'm going to bag them up and I'm going to show you basically just what the bags look like. Alright, so here's our beans all in bags. As you can see, there is a little bit of steam forming inside some of the bags, so I am leaving them propped open like this. just for probably 5 minutes so they can cool down even further while they're in the bags. I've gotten 5 Ziploc baggies with 2 cups of beans in each of them. So I started out with 5 cups of beans, right? So now we've got 10 cups total. So it's doubled in size. 5 minutes, I will show you how I flat pack them. Okay, I'm doing this bag right now. Just because there was no steam inside of it. I'm just showing you how I do it. So I just kind of smush them all down. Don't smush them because you don't want to break them up, right? Just kind of push them down a little, get all the air out, and then you seal your bag just like that. And then once it's, you can literally use gravity to shake it out to get them to come back to the top of the bag. Now they're up back to the top of the bag with minimal air inside. Just give it a little bit of a padding so it's nice and flat. And then that is exactly how I freeze them. It is flat packed, just like that. And that way when they come out of the freezer, you put them on the, I'll stack them all on top of each other like that. And then when you take them out of the freezer, whenever you need them, because it's flat packed, it really doesn't take a whole lot of time to thaw. And then I also write the date that I packed them on. It's approximate, it's almost June, so I just wrote June on there. And then as time goes on, if I see something on there that has a really old date on it, I'll just end up throwing them out. I'm usually pretty good with keeping an eye on my dates though, so if something starts to get close to its date, I kind of focus down on eating that particular item and getting them out of my freezer. But that's basically it. You stack them into your freezer like that, and you have beans for as long as you can use all of these beans up for. I use them, or I made them, because I'm going to be making my chili really soon. I haven't had chili in my freezer for a decent amount of time. It's my own rendition of chili, so follow along if you want to see a video of how I make my chili. Thank you. Bye-bye.